Hello and welcome to W.I.S.E. I'm Rosie Acosta. W.I.S.E. stands for Women Inspiring Success and Empowerment. This is a 10-part podcast series featuring interviews with successful, inspirational women in business, art, entertainment, and more. We all have a conception of beauty based on our own personal preferences, as well as influences from the culture around us. As much as we'd hate to admit it, our idea of what is beautiful relies heavily on what we see in the media, in our families, in our neighborhoods. Is that okay to admit? We all want to become evolved, wise enough to rise above outside influences of what we think is beautiful. But would that take away from us recognizing beauty in other people, in art, in fashion, finding beauty in nature, in architecture, in chaos, in rebirth? It's a far more complicated question than can be answered in platitudes. Today, we're speaking with Joanna Vargas, esthetician to the stars and queen of the naturopathic facial. By her own admission, Joanna has a deep dedication to women's health, resulting in a product line with all natural ingredients formulated to beautify and, more importantly, make you feel beautiful. We sat down to discuss just how empowering feeling beautiful can be. Here's my conversation with Joanna Vargas.
So I went to school, photography and women's studies were my majors, and for my thesis project, I did a whole thing about beauty and what beauty is for a woman, and I took pictures of all my friends for it, and I asked them to show up in what made them feel most beautiful. And you know, the outfits were all different, but nobody came with makeup. And you know, when you're young at the time, you don't fully, I thought it was remarkable. Like maybe there was lipstick, but that was it. It was just this bare, beautiful face and like, you know, some kind of outfit that made them feel awesome, or a pair of shoes that made them feel great. And so it made me think about the standards of beauty and what's imposed upon us as women, and then what's at the core of that, you know, and being confident and finding your own strength is really what makes us feel the most beautiful. And that's something I learned from doing that all those years ago, and it really informed my career and how I talk to clients, and really, you know, why I'm still so passionate about what I do and why I still do so many facials, because I just love the feeling of giving that back to somebody and just being like, here you go, now you're powered up and you can go on with your life and face the world a stronger person.
Yeah, I love that what you're so passionate about, really creating that sense of confidence for other people. You give so much, and you've done all the research, all the scientific research. You've come up with an incredible product line that's all based around how people can really take care of their skin and different routines on how to take care of their overall health. But for you, what has been the biggest impact on your own routine or your own beauty? What is it that makes you feel the most glow, so to speak?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, what me and probably everybody else feels is that, you know, if you're looking at somebody beautiful, you're looking at someone healthy. Like, for me, taking care of myself and honoring myself by exercising, by eating the right stuff, and just doing things that will make me, you know, be healthier, let's say, is what makes me feel most confident in myself. You know, and that's not to say I'm a saint. You know, also, I like to have ice cream cones with my kids sometimes, but like, I don't care. Like, I don't beat myself up about that, because that's also fine. You know, it's not about like imposing so many rules that you're making yourself ill with failure.
Yeah.
You know, it's about setting certain goals and meeting those goals. I was talking to a client the other day who suffered a loss, and somebody in her family passed, and she's suffering. And so therefore she's drinking more alcohol than she would like, and not eating right, and not exercising, and all this stuff. And what I told her was like, set the goal that you're going to because she just bought a Peloton bike. And I was like, instead of setting a goal of doing an hour and a half of the bike every day, which we all know you're not doing because she's doing 0. I was like, do a 10-minute class every day, because they have like little classes. And just 10 minutes. That's all you need. And it's that much of a boost for you when you just meet one goal at a time. That makes a huge difference in the way you look at yourself. And I think it just bothers me how many women look in the mirror and think hateful things, because I have to listen to it a lot. Yeah. I hate this. I hate that. I hate this about myself. I hate myself. It's really horrendous what we do to ourselves. And I just, in the book, I talk a little bit about how, like, be in the practice of looking in the mirror and think of one good thing. And it's sadly a very foreign concept to people. However, if you make that a habit, it's life-changing, really, because you find out there are so many good things about myself, and really, for me, at this stage of my career, I've had to come out of my comfort zone in so many different ways. And really, I have a ton of people that count on me. And if I looked at myself in the mirror and told myself I hated myself every day, I wouldn't be able to be at my best. I wouldn't be doing the best job for my staff. I wouldn't be able to be the best for my kids. And so when you look at things in that perspective, sometimes it's more palatable to be like, all right, I owe it to my family. I owe it to my team. I owe it to these people to be my best self. So I am going to think of something good,
Yeah, that's so great, because we live in a society, especially for women, that we need to look a certain way. We need to be a certain way. We need to, speak a certain way. Everything is so curated around this ideal that we see on photoshopped pictures on Instagram, right? Or people touting that everything about their face is natural, when we can sometimes tell that it's not,
right.
So there's this unrealistic goal that we have for ourselves sometimes that is just not healthy, and it's not it doesn't serve our highest good, and I think it creates that sort of negative spin and that negative cycle.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. I mean, the thing that's ironic is that even actors do that to themselves too. Like, they'll look at someone else and be like, oh, but they look so much better than me. We're constantly all doing it. So and I don't think Instagram has been our friend in that department. And I think, what makes a good picture isn't necessarily a good treatment. What makes a good picture isn't necessarily what we need to be taking up as like our new thing. It's just a picture.
Yeah. For you, like, I know that you have such a holistic approach to beauty and beauty standards, and I really love that. And it was really inspiring for me when I did find out about your ethos, so to speak, because I'm 36. I almost said I'm 35. I'm like, no, I'm 36, and I want to be able to feel empowered and feel beautiful and feel healthy. And sometimes when you have people in your life that are like, well, you need to start doing a little Botox, or you need to start doing a little bit of this or a little bit of that. And internally, I may be like, oh, maybe I do have to do it because everybody else is doing it.
Right.
But really thinking about a different approach, and again, like, just reading about what your career has been and what you've researched and the types of products that you've put out, and just your whole philosophy really made me feel like better about just working within as opposed to doing something externally. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, what I'm talking about is making you the best version of you, as opposed to setting some other standard of beauty that you have to then fit yourself into, and I think that that's really like a key difference. What vitamins and nutrients does your skin need to perform its best? What do you need to be doing internally in terms of like diet and exercise and all of that stuff? Sleeping, cutting back on alcohol. All of those things are more important than considering whether you need Botox or not. You know what I mean? And I'm not dogging it. Botox is everybody's choice to do. But it bothers me that people would think that they have to. I'm here to tell you that you don't have to. And there's like a whole world of treatments and products and things that you can do to never have to. I mean, I'm going to be 50 this year. I've never done it. So I've never done anything. So.
And for those of you that are watching this video, just get a close-up on how gorgeous she is. And she really looks like she's 25. And goals.
Thanks,
goals,
buddy.
Everybody.
I don't look 25.
Yeah, she does.
She just likes me.
So,
but, I do feel like I have really grown into myself. Whereas when I was younger, I was insecure about everything, just like everybody else. But I also don't waste my time doing things I know that will make me feel bad about myself later. I don't remember if I mentioned in the book or not that I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I don't touch it anymore, not because of any other reason than it wasn't doing anything for me anymore. It wasn't going to be good for my collagen. It gave me a headache the next day. It made me more insecure in events and things because I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, what did I say that for? Or maybe I should say this. And there was a lot of internal discourse going on. And I just thought, why the hell am I putting myself through this, And I don't miss it.
Yeah, and you talk about how it's a toxin, and I love how you talk about the liver fungi and how what it does to your insides. It's basically poisoning your body, and
unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is. It's just, it's not there to make anyone feel bad. It's just so that you have the information. Yeah. I think New York is more of a drinking culture than Los Angeles is, and I just want people to know exactly what they're doing, because I don't think as a culture we think a lot about what we're doing to our bodies after we eat stuff and drink stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we need to focus on a little bit more.
This episode is brought to you by Biooptimizers. What is the number one mineral to fight stress and fatigue? Magnesium. But not just any magnesium. The one I recommend is Magnesium Breakthrough, because it combines all 7 essential forms of magnesium into one convenient supplement. Most magnesium supplements fail because they are synthetic and not full spectrum. When you get all 7 critical forms of magnesium, pretty much every function in your body gets upgraded, from your brain to your sleep, pain and inflammation, and to less stress. With this one simple action, you can reverse magnesium deficiency in all its forms. Go to www.biooptimizers.com/WISE to get a 10% discount with the coupon code WISE10. That's BIOPTIMIZERS.com/WISE, WISE, to get a 10% discount with the coupon code WISE10. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? I know that the last couple of months for me and a lot of people I know, it has been such an emotional upheaval, up and down. This is coming from somebody who's been in and out of therapy for the last 15 years. BetterHelp will help assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line, it's not a self-help, it's a professional counseling service done straight online. There's a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas, especially with a lot of things being closed down right now. The service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get a timely and thoughtful response. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room, as with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so that they make it easy for you and free to change counselors if you need. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit their website and read their testimonials that are posted daily. Visit betterhelp.com/wise. That's better, HELP, and join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Today, they're offering our listeners for the WISE podcast 10% off of your first month if you visit betterhelp.com/wise. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/wise, WISE, to get 10% off of your first month. And now, back to our show. I want to ask you about, and these are some of the questions that I ask the guests on this particular podcast, because it is about wisdom, or your route to acquiring wisdom, or things that you've learned in your life. That for me, it's the experiences that create wisdom, and it's not a matter of age, it's a matter of experience, and anybody could have a deep sense of learning something that's deep and prolific. And so for you, I want to start by first asking you, what has been the best piece of advice that somebody's given you, and who that person was?
The best piece of advice I've been given. I think that I grew up in a time where being tan was like really popular. And I was shameless in that regard. And my mom had darker skin than I did, and I always thought her skin was way prettier than mine. I got ripped off in the melanin department. So I'm like the whitest person in my family. So anyway, I would wear SPF 4, and it was by Bain de Soleil, and it was called Orange Glacé, and it was like an orange oil that you would smear all over, and it would make you look orangey bronze.
Oh no.
I felt like I was in the commercial every time I put it on. It smelled like I don't know what.
Oh no.
And I would just walk down the beach like, yeah, man. Anyway, so I'm setting the scene, right? And so my grandma was actually very light-skinned, and she was like, you have to appreciate, who you are. It's okay, because she knew I was just trying to be as dark as my mom. I was just constantly being like, I can do it. I can get there. And she always told me, just be who you are, and nobody was saying that in the 80s and 70s. And obviously it was incredibly profound looking back on it. But I was young, and I was like, oh my God, Grandma, and because she always wore this giant hat. But as I've gotten older, I really understood what she was trying to tell me. I do a lot of mentorship for young women, and I always tell them, I only became successful when I really embraced who I truly was. And I stopped trying to fit into what I thought people wanted me to be or what I thought the beauty industry was. When I became an esthetician, it was a very different landscape. There was a lot of, it was just conservative and different, and I felt like you had to just be really buttoned up and do things a certain way. And that's obviously, you know me a little bit, it's not my way. And I think the more I became myself and more I was less fearful of showing people that I had tattoos and showing people where I came from and talking about that and really going into what I really thought, that's when I really blew up and became successful.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And that's part of what I think resonated so much with me and with so many women out there, and even the people, I'm sure your clients and the people that you work with, is that you've really created this huge success by just being who you are.
Yeah. And not quite fitting into a mold, and I am very aware there are certain magazines that just didn't know what to do with me at the beginning, and certain people as well in the industry, and they have to deal with me now.
Yeah, they do.
Not going anywhere.
So yeah, please don't ever. You're here to stay. Okay, that's amazing. So when you think about the word wisdom, or somebody that's wise, a woman in particular, what comes to mind for you? What does a wise woman mean to you? What does it look like?
Somebody who has allowed herself to have experiences. I always tell people life is a winding road. And, I find that young people today want to be so focused on their careers, and that's great. But you learn so much by kind of giving into the journey and taking turns that maybe are a little bit unexpected, and just gathering data from those experiences. So to me, wisdom comes from that, from allowing yourself to try things that aren't unexpected or not in the game plan. And really that's kind of what I look for when I hire people, that thing that comes from experiencing life and really going for it and not being afraid to see where you land, really.
Yeah. If you could give one piece of advice to every single woman in the world right now, every single woman in the world is listening to this podcast right now or watching this video, what would you say to them?
I would say that the source of real power comes from within you. It comes from you believing in yourself, and there's no person that you can find in your life that has the ability to have that power more than yourself. And I think as women, we sometimes tend to look outwardly for that. And really, at the end of the day, there's you and there's you. It's your life. You are in charge of it, no matter what. And you have the ability to change things on a dime if you change your mind about something. It's really that simple. There's nothing else. I've lived it. I've done it. And it's the single most important truth.
I love that. Thank you so much. I want to be respectful of your time. So the last thing that I want to ask you is just with regard to your own journey and your own path. being as you've created this huge success, you have 2 extremely successful spaces in New York and LA. You've got a hugely successful product line. You work with the echelon of celebrities. You are at the top of the game, so to speak. What does your life look like when you've done everything that you've wanted to do, you've accomplished everything you've wanted to accomplish, and it's just you and your family? I know you're a mother.
Mm-hmm.
What does your life look like when you're at that stage in your life? Let's say Joanna at 95.
I think about that, believe it or not, often. I have a lot of other passions in my life besides my work. I play the piano, I paint, I love to travel. I still take photographs in my private life that don't appear on Instagram, believe it or not.
What? There's a life outside of Instagram?
I know, it's weird. I think I hope at 95 that I will be painting with my grandchildren and traveling the world with my husband and staying curious,
Joanna, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for all the work that you've put out. Your book is amazing. I think it's going to help so many people out there. It's such a great guide, and I'm just grateful for you and being a living inspiration to women all over, especially for women of Latin descent. I'm so honored to have had you on the show and to have a conversation with you. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.
So for the people that are listening to this or are watching the video, where can they go for more information if they want to learn more about you or contact you?
Well, JoannaVargas.com. You could order my book from there. There are links to Barnes & Noble, Amazon, all that stuff. My product line is there. I have a YouTube channel. You could go to my Instagram also. Lord. And that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. So the name of the book is called Glow from Within.
Yes.
And for the people that are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, we are purchasing 10 copies and we'll be giving them away to Instagram. See, I'm going back to Instagram. Yeah. So the first 10 people that tag us in it will get a free copy of our book. And all the links that Joanna just mentioned will be on the info button in whatever you're listening to the podcast on. So you can go to the links and click the links. They'll all be there. And please let us know what you thought. Subscribe, rate, and review. And we're so excited that you're watching this or listening to this. And please send us any feedback or questions. And we're just so happy that you are listening to this. The people listening to this need to hear this message. And if you have a friend or somebody that you know will benefit from what was talked about today, please share that with them as well. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the W.I.S.E podcast, and thank you to Joanna for joining us. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. We really appreciate your support. This podcast is produced by me, Rosie Acosta, and Aviv Rubenstein. You can find Aviv on Instagram at Rambo Calorician. Join us next week for another episode. This is your host, Rosie Acosta. Peace out.